on the game as it's progressed, to today, and we talked about before about the two referees in the game. What were your thoughts on that?
I never liked it.
Never liked it?
Didn't like it. Actually, that's the year I left. I left at the end of 2008, and it started 2009.
Yep.
So I never did it, but I didn't like it. I never.
But you jumped in the bunker straight away, didn't you?
Yeah, I went straight to video
ref. How'd you enjoy that? Like being 12th man, isn't it?
I hated it when I was refereeing because you used to do the Friday night game and then you'd go into the video ref on the Sunday and you'd get through the game with no dramas with refereeing and you'd be panicking, you'd make a mistake in the video box and your name's in the papers because you're doing a silly video ref. I used to hate it because it never got any more. It was a full-time referee. It was part of the gig.
Is it the same pressure as being out in the field? Because, again, we talked about this previously where everyone sits at home now and goes, "Oh, how could they stuff that decision up on the?" But is it when you're in the box doing it? It's obviously different.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure. Yeah, I didn't like doing it. I never liked it from the start, and I did it in the end for the money. 'Cause I used to pay $1,000 a game to do it, so I did it for like 5 or 6 years after I retired. But I never really liked it much, but it was good to go away with the guys like that. I used to enjoy that too. I went away with the guys, and it was part of the group, the refereeing group. It was good.
Play on.
Yep.
Ray, I know you've got a question, but can I just quickly jump in before you ask yours?
Only if you're really quick.
Touch judges.
Sorry, make that noise. Sorry.
I've always thought that when the touchy always comes in, it's because they want to get their head on TV. And so many times they'll let stuff go and then they'll come in and, so touch judges, they're not proper referees, are they? Or they were?
No, so nowadays most of the touch judges are referees. They're not in the centre at the time, but you have got the odd specialist touch judge.
A specialist touchy? I didn't realise that.
Specialist touchy, yes.
Why would he want to be a specialist touchy?
Because he can't be a special referee?
He can't referee. He's not good enough to do first grade or whatever.
Oh, well, not quite like that. But no, they're probably told that your future's going to be on the line if you want to do first grade. Like, for example, the grand final this year, we had one. Chris Sutton is a referee. He was on the line. And on the other line was Dave Munro, and he's a specialist touch judge. And he's an excellent touch judge too.
I'll tell you what, if I was a specialist touchy, but that's more pressure, isn't it? Yep. That's more forward pass, where that's specialist. Because they go, you're a specialist, and you've missed it. Yeah. If you're a referee, you sort of get a bit of leeway on the touchline, don't you?
Yeah, true. It's like the doctor specialist, they need something. Yeah.
I like the touch judge when they get tackled close to the line and there's to play the ball and they'll have to come in just like...
Yeah, have a look.
Have a look and just
a close look.
Back. That
move. Have a close look.
But mate, is it hard to rule on a forward pass? Like I find that the touch judges are not much help to referees sometimes. When we can see the forward pass, are they looking at something else maybe, do you think? Is it a hard thing, really,
And why isn't the bunker used to rule on that?
No, well, they can't. They're not allowed to.
Why, but?
Because of angles and whatnot. Yeah, angles. It's hard to...
There was a stage during, I'm not sure, Super League or where they were allowed to...
We were allowed to use them. Yeah, we went to the... it was 1 year, though. I'm not sure what year it was. Might have been 2000 or 2001 or something.
Sure.
And... a couple of times I went to the bunker on passes, and then the video referee got to adjudicate whether it's forward or not. Yep. Like obvious ones, there was one in the semi-finals. It was Reece Walsh's pass. Yeah. Well, that was
a metre forward.
Yeah, it was probably
how did they miss that? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how they missed it.
Because I'm looking at the lines on the ground too. Straight away.
Yeah, well,
on the replay, you're looking at the lines on the ground.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes they've thrown the ball backwards, but it floats forward.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's nothing worse than calling a forward pass that isn't forward.
And that can happen, eh?
Yeah,
that does happen. Ben Kennedy wouldn't have liked that, would he?
No, he doesn't like that. No.
Imagine Canberra. Gee. Can I just go to something? We were talking about the female rugby league, and I think we should name the people. And Tamika
Yeah, that's
Tamika
Tamika Upton.
Yeah, she's a
Fullback.
gun. She's a gun.
Oh, she's the fullback. Yeah, I didn't know what her name was.
And
yeah.
she was she got picked for Australia for the first time. She's been playing State of Origin for some reason. She hadn't been picked. But there's also another girl. I don't know if you heard the Southwells, the Jessie Southwell.
Yeah, I've heard of her. Yeah,
They're fantastic. And I think Witts met with her older sister, who's the gun.
Yes, I did at a
tackler.
McGrath Foundation gig. She's the captain and Jessie's the halfback.
Yeah.
And I asked her about her sister, and I said, "Doesn't mean she's only young, and they're saying she's the next one, and she can kick and pass and all this." And she's like 18. She goes, "No, she's okay." I went, "Really?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "Well, I did this in sport, and she did that in sport." And I'm one of those girls or the two sisters that played a lot of different sports and represented at a high level at a lot of different sports when they were younger. So I don't think they're overawed playing in the WNRL at that level, because from what she said, and it was a great day. I was with James Graham as well, which was really interesting to meet James. He was a tough rooster, James. I said, of all the girls like this, and they went, we've all played multiple sports at a high level. So they're found rugby league now, and I don't think they're overawed. And they're good, man. They're getting better.
Upton. But I just wanted to say that. Who's the Bulldogs? Who's playing for the Bulldogs this year?
Mate, I couldn't name you
See,
one player
there you go.
because
So don't be hard
I'm
on
a
yourself.
long-suffering fan and they're rubbish. And
Mate,
we're talking about Phil Gould before, and we don't need Phil Gould calling us and cancelling us, but
we won't have a podcast soon.
But I think that
Do you want me to ring Gus and we'll get him on?
As a Bulldogs fan, I think Gus might be part of the problem.
Anyway,
I'm just putting it out there. I can cut that out later on.
So are the doggies hoping that Gus is going to do something like he's done with Penrith?
Yeah, and look, we'll probably have to cut this out because if we do get Phil on, we don't need him to hear me bagging him. But
no, it's all right. People can handle a bagging.
But Phil's obviously got a really long history in rugby league. Amazing.
Yeah.
Huge. But when you've got that big of a reputation, does that mean you're immune from criticism? Or
No.
And I feel that with Phil, maybe people at the club, I don't know, there's a lack of criticism, you know.
And why do you think he's not doing a good job?
Well, there was the whole Trent Barrett thing.
Yep.
I don't think that was handled really well.
Yep.
I remember him coming out one week saying, "Oh, yep, he's got the full support of the board. We
Yep.
know what that means."
Next
and
week,
the next
gone.
week, Gonskis.
Yeah.
Dean Pay before that, like he sort of was going well. I think he took over.
Potter was the one.
Yes,
Michael Potter.
was the-
Yep.
Yeah. And then, you know, with Cameron Ciraldo coming on board and then buying all these players and, you know, Bulldogs fans got their hopes up. And you don't expect miracles straight away, but
But you've got some players coming again for this season, haven't you? You got, what's his name?
you would know more than me.
From out at Penrith, the centre.
He doesn't.
Oh, yeah, Crichton.
Crichton, what a player.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
player he is.
Yeah, they've just bought that Warriors player too.
Yeah, the good forward, wasn't it?
Yeah. What's he? I can't think of his name.
Are
So-
they going to be on the? They've got to improve the team. I mean, they're
So
great
is
players.
it a culture thing there? Is it because they've been losing for so long? Even when you have someone like Phil come in and
No, mate.
it's just the whole place, does it stink? I don't know.
It's the referees weren't giving them a go. That's what it's about.
always the
mate.
referees, isn't
Well, mate, isn't it?
Well, on that too, we talked about this before on the way here, is that each referee probably has their own style. So do players know that, and then they think, well, say for example, you don't police the 10 metres all the time, and they think, well, we're going to creep up on the outside.
Oh, I'm
because
sure.
we know
I'm sure
Sean,
they do.
You know,
I'm sure they do. And
And the coaches would know each particular style, wouldn't they?
yeah,
That's
they
right.
know.
Yeah,
they know. This bloke doesn't give a lot of penalties away. This bloke does this. This bloke does that.
Yeah.
He'll just talk you out of it. Or Stephen Clark, do not put your hand on the ball because he'll penalise you. Just stuff like that.
well, I
Yeah,
remember my
100%.
massive junior rugby league career for Revesby Heights ex-Servicemen's Club. One game, coach says to me, this referee really lacks on the 10 metres. So the first play of the ball, I'm in the centres and I'm a couple of metres offside. Blows me offside.
Got ya,
There
yeah.
Straight away. So
Never listen
didn't
to
work.
your
Didn't work. That was to the coach.
Could I just some of these names, some of these New South Wales police officers that played rugby league. Randall Barge,
Don't know him.
Ross Birrell.
Oh, was it in 1935? Is it?
No, 55.
50. Oh, I don't know.
Jeff Bugden.
Yes, I know Jeff
remember
Bugden.
Bugden.
I refereed Jeff Bugden in the police footy. Yes, very hard.
Phil
man.
Daly.
Yeah, tough
Yes,
rooster,
Phil
Jeff.
Daly. Yeah,
Phil
prop
Daly.
for Manly.
Bumper Farrell. Did you ever? Do you know him?
No, well, I know his niece. I used to work with her at Balmain Lease Club. Yeah.
But he was a legend up the cross, wasn't he? Bumper Farrell.
Yeah, Carmel Farrell. Yeah, he was. Yeah. Yes.
He was a hard footballer, wasn't he?
Yeah, hard policeman, hard footballer, very famous.
Sean Garlick?
Yes.
Yeah, Garlick. Wow.
Sean Garlick.
Neville Glover?
Yes. Prosecutor? Yes.
Kevin Goldspink?
Played for Balmain?
No, Canterbury Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Kevin
right,
Gold.
yeah.
Kevin Goldspink.
Was it 70s,
I
was
don't-
it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I've got here Bill Hamilton.
Yes. Yeah.
Who? Big Billy
What
Hamilton,
did they call him?
front row from
Igor,
Manly.
what did they call him? I forget his nickname. Craig Izzard.
Yeah.
Played for
Team?
Penrith, I think, the Izzard brothers.
Yeah.
Pat Jarvis.
Yeah.
St George, right?
George, Pat Jarvis.
tough
He was a
rooster too.
detective.
Your
Yeah.
favourite
Yeah.
side?
Tough rooster too.
Donnie McKinnon.
Donnie McKinnon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donnie McKinnon. Now-
what was he? Come on, what was he renowned for
What was
besides being a really good front
what was he
rower for
really
the Bears?
famous
He was
for?
doing a piss on the field.
Yeah.
Lang Park.
Relieving himself.
Hey,
Lang Park, I believe it was the first game of the round year, was it, against Brisbane Broncos?
And relieved himself on the field.
Yeah, he just dropped the snorkel out and
yeah. Well, he said he couldn't go off the field. I don't blame him. Brian Chickamore.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Newtown.
He's only just died.
Oh, really? Brian
Yeah.
Moore,
The
legend.
late. Yeah,
Right,
just,
okay.
only just the last couple of months he just died. Yeah.
Ron Raper.
I don't know.
One
Ron.
of the rapers.
one of the rapers. Yeah.
David Ronson. Winger for Manly.
I remember as a footballer, but I didn't know he was a copper.
Yeah. That's what yeah. Mark Sargent.
Oh yes.
Was he a sergeant?
Ah,
Sorry.
Sergeant
no,
Mark
he,
Sargent. That's
yeah.
a piss take, isn't it?
he was up at Newcastle, Canterbury, and yeah.
Paul Sironen.
Oh yeah. Well, I worked with Ciro at Balmain. We worked together.
Yeah, how was he? We were gonna try to get him on, but he's moving up. The
As
coast.
as a policeman, he was a very good footballer.
yeah. He's a very good footballer. wasn't
Very,
he?
very
like
good footballer.
His sons are
Remember
fantastic.
Ciro's story? We had him on an after the game live show for
Unreal.
Peakhurst, or a renowned football club, and he was telling the story about he got called out to a job with the sergeant or something, and the sergeant, it was a domestic, and the sergeant was like getting assaulted or something, and he's turning around looking for Ciro, and Ciro's like
Gone.
or way out of the action.
Yeah, because they had. You remember he said he had an important game the next day, so he didn't want to.
Didn't want to get it.
Rod Silver,
Yeah, Rod. Yep.
You know Rod?
He works at Kempsey. He's a sergeant at Kempsey.
one of the troublemakers. Bruce Starkey,
Oh yeah, Bruce
Yeah.
Starkey. Yeah.
and you probably this is 1940s. George Tailforth, another Berries
I
player.
remember Georgie Tailforth. Yeah, Berry's player.
Another Berries player.
Mal Meninga.
Okay, let's go for the Queenslanders.
Yeah, Mel was
Hey,
in the
we've got only a few. Who we got?
Wayne Bennett.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
What's wrong?
John
What was
Buttigieg.
wrong? What was wrong with
Yeah,
that?
what's wrong with Benny?
No, nothing. He was
He wasn't a policeman.
outstanding. Oh, yeah, I knew he was a policeman.
Okay.
Yeah, but outstanding coach.
Yeah.
And he used to have a philosophy when he coached. He told the players, "Do not talk to the referee." And when you used to do Brisbane, you used to have a really good game because they never argued, they never said a word to you. He told them, "Do not say anything to the referee." And I did a game down in Melbourne, and Melbourne were playing Brisbane, and Brisbane were leading, and Melbourne has scored in the last 2 minutes. They're gone in the corner, and I didn't think anything wrong with it, and I gave the try, and they're playing the replay, and the bloke dropped the ball.
Oh.
And they're playing it over. It was a Channel 9 game, and they're playing it over and over, and I'm just sitting there waiting for the kick, and I'm thinking, oh dear. And I was looking at the Brisbane players there behind the post, and they're looking over at me, and they're looking up at the board, and they're looking over at me, looking up at the board, and they were wanting to have a go. And then we've gone back for the kick-off, and Darren Lockyer, he was just waiting to
I
have,
bet he
you know.
was too.
And Casey Maguire was kicking off. He had to put the ball, and then you tell they were told, do not talk to the referee, you know. And it just got too much for Casey Maguire, and he said, "Are you looking at that replay?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Good." That's all he said. That's all they said.
How good's that?
That's really good.
isn't it?
Serious discipline.
That's what he. Yeah. If it was any other club, they would have been going. Yeah, cost us.
So Wayne Bennett, John Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg. Yeah.
Paul Hoff.
Yeah.
He was tall, wasn't he? How tall was he? Did you ever ref him? No, he was probably before.
No, he's before me, but I actually refereed him in a police football game. He played for Queensland in the police footy.
6'6", wasn't he? He's about 6'6".
Yeah.
Peter Jackson.
Oh, what a player.
Was that
So
Peter Jackson
sad.
in the centres that took his own life?
Yeah, yeah.
Was he a copper?
Yeah, apparently so.
Very, very sad. I didn't know that either.
I didn't know he was a policeman.
No.
I hope I got that right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. Oh, maybe he was. I don't
Mal
know.
Meninga, of course.
Yeah.
Willie Morganson.
Who's Willie Morganson?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ben Rudder or Rudder? Ben Rudder.
Melbourne?
Ben Rudder, was he a copper?
Yeah.
I don't know whether he was a copper.
Ben
because
Rauder. Ben Rauder.
Yeah, I did a game this year down in it was a Laurie Daly for the local Temora.
Yep.
Yes.
And Ben Rauder, they brought him up from Melbourne. They got a lot of different ex-footballers, and they played the local first-grade game.
Okay.
It was a charity thing, and I refed it. And Ben Rauder played in that game, and I was talking to him. I don't think he was a policeman. He would have mentioned it if he was.
Really?
Ray, did you mention Mal Cochrane on the New South Wales list? Was he
No,
on there?
there's a
Manly
few
player?
There's a
Mal
few
Cochrane?
I skipped.
He was a copper at Manly.
No,
Yeah.
didn't. No, that wasn't in the list.
He's at North Sydney.
Oh,
in the
North
Coppers.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He played. He worked under Kevin Roberts.
Oh, okay.
Kevin Roberts was the inspector, and Mal Cochrane was one of the Ds in the.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Mal Cochrane.
Mel Cochrane, great player.
And
Great.
Craig Young.
Yep.
He was
Craig Young,
he was a
St. George.
detective at
Yep.
Newtown.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
So in 2009, is that when you retired?
Yes.
Do you remember your last game?
Yes, Canberra and Canterbury. At Canberra.
Wow.
Yeah.
And by that stage, you obviously thought about it for a long time, made up your mind that was going to be it, or was it after the game where you thought, I've had enough? Well, how did that come about?
No, I was. I never thought it was my last game. I got punted in the off season.
Oh, okay.
I got punted.
Phil Gould.
No, no. I got called in and had a conversation with the referee's boss at the time, and he said, "I'm not going to renew your contract." I didn't even see it coming. He said, "We're bringing 2 referees in. You're a level 1, which was the most. We're not renewing your contract. We don't."
Sean, did those 2 go anywhere? The ones that they were bringing in, the two referees they were bringing in.
No, I mean
They'll
two
bring in
referees.
two refs for the game.
Two
Oh,
referee
the
system.
2 for the game. Sorry,
Yeah,
I thought they
so
were
he had
bringing-
to-
I thought
he
they
had
were going to
to-
have 2 to replace 1.
He had to get a lot of. No, well, yeah.
Would you have liked to continue refereeing for
I
another
wanted to
couple
go,
of years?
No, I wanted to go one more year.
Yep.
Because I'd done 290 games. I wanted to get to 300. There had only been a couple of blokes that done 300 games, and I wanted to get 300, but it wasn't to be. So
Yeah.
I didn't have a very good year my last year. I contributed to my own downfall, really. So
Still a lot of games, but isn't it? 290 first grade games is a lot
Yeah.
of refereeing.
But
yeah.
but that wasn't that try scored by beep beep beep.
Who? What game?
What game was that?
There was a by GI.
Greg Inglis?
Yeah,
no,
Greg
I
Inglis
was the
tried.
video referee.
Oh, is that when the problem was?
I was the
You were in
video
the hot seat
I
again.
was in the video referee. I was
Yeah.
the video referee down in Melbourne for the
Sorry
Origin.
about that.
Yeah, that was a contentious
Okay,
moment.
we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, sorry about that.
So after retirement, still with the New South Wales Police and just carried on doing that? Or?
Yeah, I was a part-time ref at the time, part-time police officer. So I went back full-time as a full-time policeman. That probably made it a little bit easier for him to get rid of me too, because it would have been harder for him to punt another bloke, because that's their job.
Yep.
Then I was the only one who had a job. I was the only one who was still working. It was Paul Simpkins had gone the year before, and me and him were the only ones who had another job, and so it probably made it a little bit easier for him to pump me. But I contributed to my performances that year. I was getting a bit old.
And since retiring, did you still watch rugby league and watch referees' performances and actually think, well, this guy's going to go?
Absolutely. Yeah, I still do it now.
Fantastic.
Do you critique their performances when you and how heavily did you critique your own after the game?
Oh, absolutely. I critiqued it
Yeah, like
you knew when you went well and when you went poorly.
Yeah.
You certainly knew that.
Yeah. Sean, how close did you get to doing a grand final, you think? You did a lot of finals, a lot of semi-finals.
I got very close in 2002.
Yes.
I may have got it. I probably should have got it, and I got in the trouble with the police, and I got stood down.
Oh, movement now.
What do you mean you got in trouble with the police? You're a bloody policeman.
I got. There was a pick inquiry into the promotion system, and I got the questions for a promotional test, and I got hauled down to pick. And then it's a long story, but I did a semi-final, and another police officer sent my evidence that I gave at pick into the NRL and said, this bloke's a corrupt copper.
Oh.
And if you don't stand him down, I'm going to release. And that was the year the Bulldogs had all the problems. So
Bulldogs again.
I got
Gus?
I got stood down. That was disappointing because I was having a really good year that year. And then 2006, I absolutely stuffed the semi-final up in Newcastle, and that was my own fault.
What happened there, Sean?
I just had a shocker of a game.
Yeah, forward passes, knock-ons.
Knock-ons, just missed. So
what happens there? Like if you know that you've made a few boo-boos, is that hard to block out, and then you just go, okay, I'll do as best as I can? It's in the back of your mind always.
I made so many mistakes that night, it wasn't funny, and I walked off the field, and I knew that, well, that's the end of me.
Yeah.
Jeez. Honesty, man.
What was that?
Bill Harrigan never walked off the field and said, I've made any mistakes. Do you know that?
Well.
Wait till we get him on here.
Yeah. He's a very good man, Bill. He's
mate. Yep.
They talk about referees' bosses. He was the best referees' boss I ever worked under.
Right.
Bill Harrigan.
Well, he wants to sing with the band. He wants to do a few
songs
with the band. Yeah.
Oh,
he can sing, apparently.
He's totally in his in real life, you got this persona of Bill Harrigan, the arrogance and all that. He's totally opposite to that.
Yep. His father had that persona too, that aura. It was incredible.
I would imagine, just like a player, if you're refereeing first grade, you have to have some sort of confidence and some sort of...
Oh, you do.
Going out there.
He's got so much confidence, Bill, but he's the nicest bloke you'd ever meet. I got so much time for him. He's a really good bloke.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
I got a really lot of time for him.
Okay, you're the first one who said that.
I wanted to ask you this. I've always been fascinated with this. What are the fitness levels like for an NRL first grade referee? How often do you train? Do you get together?
Train every day.
Was it like that when you first started, bud? Every day?
No. When I first started, we used to train 1 day a week at Lidcombe Oval.
So all the refs would get there?
Get there 1 day a week.
And how many? 20, 30 blokes, is it?
No, it's the whole, probably more, probably 50.
Right.
And we just run around, do a couple of laps and a couple of up and downs, and that's it.
Did you do much stuff outside of that personally?
Yeah.
Every day?
Yeah.
And was that gym as well, or mainly running?
I used to do running, a lot of running, and then we went when we went professional with the NRL. We got trainers in, physios and everything, and as I said, we had Trent Elkin, my first, and I was the fittest I've ever been in my life. He was an excellent trainer.
So what sort of distance would a first grade referee cover now?
They used to time it. They do about 8Ks. That's what they do.
80+%? Or
it varies. Obviously, you're not getting the knocks. You're stopping and starting.
But it's basically a game of sprinting, isn't it? You've got to get to that ruck or get to that ball to be as close as you can. Yeah. No matter if
you got to be.
Gaz has sprinted down the line and made 50 metres. You've got to be there.
Yeah, you got to be there to make the calls.
So is there?
Well, for example, I that year. I was working at Glaze all the time, and a female detective had organised everyone to go in the city to surf for a charity thing for the police. And she tried to get me to go in, and I said, no, I can't, I've got a referee, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that particular weekend I did the Friday night game. And And then she rang me up on the Saturday. Oh, you did it. Can you come and just run? And I said, I can't do that. I just, And she goes, oh, come on. And in the end, she conned me into it. And I hadn't trained. I hadn't trained for a city to serve. I hadn't done any running or anything. And I ran it in 58 minutes. I ran it in the first 2,000. And I hadn't even trained, And that was only on. It was because Trent Elkin had me so fit. It wasn't funny.
Wow.
And, 58. I thought I'd run about 65 or something. I could probably take me 80 now, but I ran it in 58 minutes. Yeah, and that just shows
incredible.
you. That shows you how fit that I was, and I hadn't even been training for it.
Now, because they're full professionals, is there fitness standards that they have to be within? Is that tested for the referees?
Yeah. We used to have. You had to get to a 12. On the beat test.
Yep.
Well, they do the yo-yo now, but
Yep.
it used to be the beat test.
Yep.
Yes, we used to have a sprint recovery. You had to get to a certain point on the sprint recovery.
Yeah,
There was
because
all
it's
this
not how
different
fit you are,
testing.
really, is it? It's how quick you recover.
Yeah.
It's all about recovery, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sprint
yeah.
over there, settle down, play the ball, run, recover.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody goes, oh, you got to be really fit. You got to be fit, but it's how quickly can you recover. That's the key.
Yeah.
And you're also a life member since 2018, I believe, of the New South Wales Rugby League Refs Association.
Yeah.
You got to be around, of course. For that, man.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Mate, life membership's like a huge honour.
Yes.
Yes, happy days. That must have been a moment for you too.
Yeah, no, it was. It was. That was good. Actually, Bill Harrigan just got his this year. He got life member this year.
Fantastic.
So you got the nod before Bill.
Yeah.
Happy days. He's a junior.
It's
Hit him in the back
incredible.
Of the bus.
I think there was a lot of stuck-up people, and Bill signed with Super League. Oh, you can't let him.
Yeah.
But he got it this year, which was good.
Yeah, fantastic.
Like you'd think Bill Harrigan would be the first one to get life membership, but because he got it this year, so he's finally.
Was he
got
thrilled? He was thrilled?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a great thrill to get a life membership.
Oh, it's one of the greatest things you can be done from your fraternity.
And with young referees coming up these days, I know that there's a, we're touching on the parents and how ballistic sometimes they can go, and a lot of young kids are probably, don't want to become a referee because of that. How is the referee system with the juniors? And
Yeah, it's hard.
I
was on the president of Balmain Referees, which is the district. I'm the president, and I have to go to the junior league meetings. One of my jobs. I don't do much else really. I'm pretty poor.
I used to do that for 10 years.
Yeah, and it's constant that they're fighting different clubs to control the parents about abusing referees. It's terrible.
Well, I know,
and especially and female referees. We had a female referee this year that walked off the field in tears because of parents.
I know my nephew was playing, and I played in the Canterbury Bankstown Junior competition, but this is only a few years ago, where parents weren't allowed inside. They'd just stand outside the fence, and then they'd have a security guard walking the perimeter of the field because of the parents just keep them as far away
as they can.
They can. So it's so trying to bring young kids as referees through it's a tough thing.
It's impossible, really. But we've we got a lot of new referees this year, and they are making an effort to control it, and they're suspending teams and stuff because of the parents. Yeah, that's what their junior league is doing.
Yeah.
Can I just drop name? I used to be involved with North Ryde Hawks.
Yes.
And I used to go to the junior meetings and that. And I remember the parents. There was always a problem with the parents.
Yeah.
But I remember we got in trouble, the club, and one of the parents was abusing one of the kids from Leichhardt Juniors, I think it was, and calling him a fat kid and stuff like that. And the parents came to the meeting, and the kid was Aaron Woods.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I think he was under 8s or something. Yeah.
He did okay.
He did pretty
He did
good.
real good after that.
Still fat, isn't he? Nah, only joking. Yeah. No, but it was a big problem every week. We'd go up to the meeting on Mondays. Is it still on Mondays?
No, that's Tuesday nights.
Tuesdays, yeah.
Tuesday, every first Tuesday of the month.
Yeah. Anyway, that's very good.
I'd say we're sort of half running out of questions. We've got a couple left. We'll talk about the judiciary in a minute. But I want to ask you this. Is there a whistle that all the NRL referees use? Like, is there 10 whistles that are available out there on the market? Is there like a fucking Ferrari?
Yeah.
There is.
Acme Thunderer.
It's not Acme. It's not Acme.
Is it?
No.
Sponsorship? Is that it? Is that what it sounds like?
Acme close, yeah.
Because you don't want to be out there blow the pee out of the bloody thing halfway through the game,
That one?
do you?
Bit the same, eh?
It's pretty much the same. It's an Acme Thunderer. That's the referee that's the whistle the referees use.
Did you put the ribbon around your hand, or how did you hang onto yours?
Yeah, with a bit of
Yeah. It's not Acme. You're joking me. It is.
No.
It's Acme.
Acme Thunder. Acme Thunderer.
He's having to go to say these refs.
I mean, I'm going to pick that up later.
No, it is. That's what it is. That's the referee.
So what if someone turns up and they haven't got the Acme Thunder? You go, oh, he's a bit underplayed, this bloke. What's going on? Why aren't we paying him enough to get the Acme Thunder?
Oh, I just think all referees use Acme Thunderers. That's what.
How many people would have asked you about the whistle? Not many, eh? Only this podcast, correct?
Insightful asking.
I don't think anyone's ever asked me about the whistle.
Which
Is that my weird brain, Ray?
go with
I said
that.
I've got to ask Sean about the whistle. And is there a special one that everybody uses when you get up into the top level? They go, mate, when you get into under 17s, you got the Acme Thunderer going.
Well, I think they would have got the Acme Thunderer from little kids because that's what everyone uses.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, how many brands of whistles is there?
Oh, I think there's a few, but the Acme Thunderers, that's what.
That's the shit.
That's
the
what
old
they
Acme
use.
Thunderer. That's the shit.
Who's the Australian author when the NRL had that promo below that whistle ref? Just who was that bald head? Remember that was a classic line.
He's a poet.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, we'll Google that later. But
He's
yeah,
only
that just
our
comes
most
to
famous one of our riders.
Yeah, blow
I
that
can't
whistle,
remember.
ref.
Yeah, that's right. Blow the Acme Thunderer. I'll know that now. I'll be yelling that out from the. Hey, blow the Acme Thunderer. He's bloody offside. Yeah.
Well, I guarantee that the first grade referee will be using an Acme Thunderer because that's what they all use.
Fantastic.
That is the doyen of referees' whistles.
Well, I've been waiting to ask you that question because I was just, umpires in England have certain ways they count. Some have got a counter. Some use pennies. Throw 1 penny in that end, 2, 3. Some have got pebbles. So, but the ones that use the counters, there's a specific counter that they've all got.
Oh, is there?
You're not umpiring county cricket or that unless you've got one of the. Yeah. So I've been fascinated by that. And the training fascinated me, the level of fitness, again, just to go back on that, it's got to be superb, hasn't it?
Yeah. We're not getting the knocks, obviously, but...
no, but besides, mate, you've got to be up with the play. You're really sprinting at 75% plus.
They're full-time. They're full-time referees. They train every day.
Is there a quid in it for them? I mean...
Yes. Yep.
So they're getting paid well now and it's good. And they can be full-time. Yeah, that's
Is that
good,
because of Super League? Did that help?
No, it's just gone up and up.
Oh,
when I retired, I was on a contract of 120,
Yep.
and I think it's probably would have doubled, more than doubled that now.
Yep.
That was back in 2008.
Tough job.
Yeah, but they're well paid. Yeah.
Judiciary. I know you just mentioned this.
Judiciary.
And before you ask your first question on that, Ray's just handed me a list of all the offences for the judiciary, but there's one missing on here.
Which one's that?
The finger.
Yeah.
Hopoate. There's no
old
Hopoate
hopper, the
offence
old
on
hopper's
here, mate.
finger.
Where's that?
Well, hang on.
Oh, that'll be just a contrary conduct.
No. What was
does it all the same category?
What was the charge called? Oh, yes, you're right.
What, finger up the ginger?
Contrary conduct.
And how many weeks suspension did he get?
I don't know. 14, was it?
No. Here we go.
10?
12.
12, was it?
12 weeks. Can you believe it?
For putting the old finger in the ginger?
Yeah. And that was Terry Lamb, wasn't it?
Yeah,
His coach
yeah.
at West
What a
Tigers.
legend. What a legend.
Mate, I remember when he used the finger on Glenn Morrison, who was playing for the Bears, mate. Did his face change like it was unbelievable, hey? I've never seen anything
How
like
long's
it.
this been going on?
Can we get Glenn Morrison on here and ask him about the finger?
He's another copper, ex-copper.
Is it Glenn Morrison? Wow.
Yeah, well, we got him at Balmain.
Talking about the finger, I remember North Ryde had all these teams in the grand final at Leichhardt Oval, and we were coming back on the bus with all the families and the players and that. And I remember my wife, her friend was apparently standing there, so she's turned around and given her the finger, right? And all of a sudden, She's laughing. My wife's laughing her head off, and this lady turned around. It was one of the grandmothers of one of the kids, and she did it to the wrong person.
Oh.
So she got the finger award at the North Ryde.
Right, the finger award.
Yeah. Who's been suspended with the most matches?
Whatever.
Yeah. Well,
Mario.
no, he's from Melbourne Storm. Played for Melbourne Storm.
Melbourne Storm.
Which grub played for the Storm?
There'd be
Give up?
the prop,
No, he was a back rower.
the drug.
No. He got it for drugs.
The drug
For
dealer.
gambling. It was a gamble. Poor bloke. I felt sorry for him. No, I've got here. I don't know what date this is from, but Danny Williams got 18 weeks
Oh yeah, he's the
for striking.
Striking.
What was the striking? When they say striking,
he punched her off the ball. It floored him. Yeah,
so that's number one.
that was at Leichhardt.
And how come John Hopoate's name appears on there a few times?
John Hopoate. He was.
Yeah, it's tough.
He
isn't
was
it?
a nightmare.
It's tough, isn't
He was a really good footballer. He could play when he wanted to, but he
Yeah.
just wanted to just
Destroy everyone, didn't he?
nightmare.
Really?
I used to hate refereeing him.
Yeah.
And then he'd always do something. And I remember one game I did. They were playing Parramatta at Parramatta, and he was causing mayhem. He was holding down. He was everything he was doing. You know, every time he was in a ruck, there's something going on. The blokes are kicking out, and he's carrying on. Anyway, the Parramatta had scored a try, and I'm waiting for the kick goal, and the touch judge comes out. He goes, I want John Hopoate. And I thought, oh, no, this is just, I couldn't be. Anyway, so they're like 10 metres away in the huddle. And so I sing out, John, come over here. Touch judge, got a report. And he's like this. He's got his head in the air. He's looking around like,
Yeah,
Oh, didn't he know his name was John?
You're talking to me.
Talking to me. Like he's got his head looking around. And I said, John, come over here. And he's like this. Like just been real smart. He put his head in the air, And I said to him, John, if you don't come over, you're going to the bin. And he's like this. He's going like this. And I said, I'm not coming to you. Unless you come over now, you're going to the bin. Oh, do you want me? And he comes over, and then the touch judge says he did something, and then I said to him, John, if any other reports, you go to the bin, blah blah blah. So he goes back, and then about 5 minutes later, the touch judge comes over, stop the game. We've got a serious injury, and on the ground, it's John Hopoate. He broken his leg.
Oh, jeez.
And
He blamed you.
No, I was. I thought it's pretty bad. I was quite relieved. I think, thank God, that's the end of him.
They've got to take him
I've
off.
got to take him off now because he was just every tackle. He's into everything, But when he wanted to play, he could really
He
play.
was really unstoppable.
But he just wanted to get into the niggle.
Did you, having Spud in here the other week, did you referee at that stage Spud versus Harrigan, any of those games at all?
No,
No?
that was before me.
It was just before you. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what year were they. I went to first grade 96. That might have been
it was 95, probably 94, 95.
Might have been just before that I started.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just looking down the list here, and I mentioned this bloke earlier who I had a great time with. James Graham.
Yes.
Biding. 12,
Was that the grand
12
final?
weeks.
Was that the grand final with Billy Slater's here?
Had to be, didn't it? Not, what does that say? James
Did he got 12
Graham.
weeks,
He
did
got
he?
12 matches suspended, 12.
You wouldn't think he would do something like that, would you?
Well, the first thing I said to him was, "G'day, James, I'm a Rabbitoh supporter. I was filthy when you smashed Sam's cheek in the grand final." And he went, "Well, I got hurt as well, mate." And no one fucking said anything
No one
to
cared
me like
about
that. Yeah.
I actually went to a sportsman's lunch just before the grand final, and James Graham was with. They were up on stage together, and they did a team act, and they spoke about that.
Yeah. Well, he
He's-
said they were great mates and roomed together
Yeah, they
playing
did.
for
They
England
did
and all that.
Yeah, they actually told some funny stories about rooming in England, but I won't go into that
Well, this
here.
is what
but-
he said
No,
to
it's
me.
fine.
You can
This is what he
because
said to me.
He does the editing. It's fine.
He said, "Sam's a good mate of mine. We'd played together in England. We're playing against each other. I know he's going to run at me, and I'm going to run at him as hard as we can." And that happened first tackle. And we just, boom, in the melon, and we lost. They won. I hurt my face too, but no one said a fucking thing about that. That's what he said to me. It was hilarious. But he spoke that day at this gig. He was hilarious.
Yeah, he was.
It's really clever.
He told a story when they shared together in a room for an English test, and they had to go down to a midweek to have a dinner. I think they were some dignitaries were at this dinner. Anyway, they had to get dressed up. And then Sam Burgess said, I got dressed up. And then James was in his underwear and he wouldn't get dressed. And Sam's going, hurry up. And he goes, I'll meet you down there anyway. So he goes down there and then he had to get – and then Sam said he went down to the do and he forgot something in the room. And he thought, I haven't got my key. So he went and he went to the reception and got a key to the room, went back up there, and he reckons that he walked in the door and there's James Graham standing at the mirror, pulling himself, watching himself as he has a pull.
Right, hey. He likes that mirror.
We are not cutting that out.
No, that's staying in, mate. That's staying
I'm going to
in.
mention that to him next time I
Yeah.
see him.
Right,
He told the story at the sportsman's lunch.
It's
I
unreal.
couldn't believe
Call him
it.
a wanker.
Well, talking of stories like that, just to briefly mention, Spud was rooming with Gillespie, test match against France in Parks, I think it was.
Yeah.
And Spud had stayed in the room and Gillespie had gone out for a few drinks and he's come back in and Spud's sort of like in awe of his first test match, a legend. He's peering over the sheets and Gillespie's gone to the cupboard, opened the cupboard and
Blind.
like,
Pissed all over his own gear.
over his own gear and the next
No, he was wanking himself.
and so the next morning they've got up and he's gone to look into the thing and Spud goes, you pissed in your bag last night. And Gillespie's going, why don't you tell me? He goes, I'm too scared, man. Too scared to talk
You're
to you.
my hero.
Unbelievable. Anyhow, send him off for that. In the judiciary, who's on that now on the panel? I know Jeff Bellew.
Jeff Bellew.
He chairs it. Well, I worked with him. He was my lawyer for about 10 years, and he really moved up really quick. And he was North Sydney because his father, Tom Bellew, used to be North Sydney Bears. But go ahead.
He's on it, and there's always two others that are there. We're like the jury.
Sure.
And then he oversights it. He's like the judge, and we're like the jury. There's me, Paul Simpkins, Henry Perinara, Tony Pt2. I mentioned him tonight. His case the Crushers. Bob Linner.
Yep, that's right.
And Greg McCallum.
Wow.
But I don't know whether Greg McCallum and Henry Perinara ever got on it. There only ever seemed to be four of us that were doing it.
Okay.
Yeah,
it just brings me back to that Reece Walsh incident this year when he swore at the referee. He swore at the referee. What? He almost got away. I reckon he could have got away with that. The way I was reading up in the Mirror in the media.
Believe me, he nearly got away with it.
No.
He very nearly got away with it.
It's incredible. He's got great lawyers, hasn't he?
He brought rental witnesses along. He brought his mate Harrigan and
did he?
And Fafita.
Yeah.
And they didn't hear anything else, but they heard him say it to Harrigan. They were because what they did, they looked at the vision, and Harrigan was close by the referee, and he couldn't really tell when he was mouthing it off who he was talking to. So they've concocted this story, and they got Fafita along, and he was from the Gold Coast. They were playing the Gold Coast.
Sure. Good witness.
And they got Fafita along. And then, Fafita stuffed it up at one stage. He goes, when he said it to the referee, oh no, I didn't mean that.
Look, the thing is, what people don't understand is like we're mad rugby league supporters, right? So we're replaying that 100 times. So if we're doing it, there'd be thousands of other people replaying that.
Yeah,
like it was just so obvious. It was unbelievable.
Reece Walsh through that game, they played it in the judiciary. There were so many incidents where he was abusing touch judges, officials, and then Butler, who was the referee, when he was walking him off, he was warning him about his repeated abuse of officials. And one in particular time, the touch judge called a forward pass, and Reece Walsh absolutely give it to him. he's like this. And
Like what? Like what? For instance, what?
Oh, you're this and you're that. Oh, you didn't know what was being
He's
said.
only 20 years of age, isn't he?
What a
Or
player,
22 or
Bardo.
something. Oh, great player.
I don't know what he is.
But he couldn't. How old is he, Ray?
20. I think he's 20 or 19 or 20.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't
you
know.
can't be talking to the officials like that
Well,
at
yeah,
such
well,
a
that's-
young
he,
age.
he,
They've told him to
he,
pull
he
his head
needed he needed to get found guilty just to pull his head in.
But
He very nearly got off it if it was a proper court, because you got to get. It's only on balance of probabilities for that. It's not
Sure.
beyond a reasonable doubt. And if he would have been beyond a reasonable doubt, he would have got off it for sure.
But also to be seen doing something we talked about junior referees before. If young kids watching Reece Williams talk like that to the referee, they're going to go out on the weekend and think, "Well, I can do it too."
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
That's right. And you don't want that.
You know, they have to make an example of that.
The NRL were very glad he got found guilty, I'm sure, because they can't have that going on.
Well, mate, he's a bloody pin-up boy. He's a freakish player. His vision of the game's unbelievable.
Well, he was getting too big for his boots.
That's right, that's right.
He got sent off in the Origin the week before that.
Sure.
And he's at the
Yeah,
crowd.
given it,
He's
that's
going
right,
off.
that's right,
You know,
that's
he's
right.
getting a bit too big. And since that happened, he hasn't been a problem with him.
What about
He's-
his speed off the mark, that first 5 or 10 metres, and he's running around other players who I know are really quick, running around or drawing 2 or 3 with his speed going across the ground, then turn it back in. I watched him really closely last year. I'm so excited to see him play next year, to see how much of his game's developed, because some of the things he did last year were really freakish, like really freakish.
I actually, when I went home, my wife said to me, she goes, "Oh, how could you find that lovely boy guilty? He's got the most wonderful eyes." I go,
I had my
please.
daughter going,
if only. He's got the most wonderful eyes. I thought, oh, please.
He could be anything, that kid. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a superstar of the game.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Yeah.
Well, I've got no more questions for Sean. I've found me whistle. How hard they train.
Well, I'll tell you, Mike, no one's ever asked me what kind of whistles we use, because that's
the
first time.
highlight of this podcast to
It
me.
is. It is.
When
That's
you're driving home, Sean, you can just go like this. Those fucking cricketers, they're weirdos, aren't they?
Well, my highlight is actually making Sean aware of the mad squirrels.
The
again
squirrels!
from the
And
Czech
he knew
Republic.
about the game.
Well,
Yeah.
Dorsley, I've never asked you this about the squirrels.
Yep.
Do they use the squirrel grip?
I'll have to send them a
And
Marty
what,
Bella.
and what whistle do they use?
Yeah, I can
Or
find out all
their
of that.
referee.
And we might be able to get Sean a gig in the European Rugby
that'd be
League for you
fantastic.
fly him over for a couple of games. And you know,
You going to Vegas? You going to Las Vegas?
No,
No, can't get the gig there. No,
No.
yeah. We're trying to get June to get the band there.
are you?
Yeah.
I'll be Junior going over, is he?
Oh, he'd have to
course,
be,
yeah.
wouldn't he? He's a
Commissioner.
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 He's
Yeah.
a big knob,
You
big
think he'd take
junior.
his band with him, wouldn't you?
You'd think he would.
Think
Yeah.
he would.
Yeah, anyway.
5-star, first class.
Don't cut that out of the podcast. Leave that in.
no. But ready for this?
Yeah.
You know what this means.
Oh, how's that?
How's that?
Thank you, mate. It was a pleasure. Thank you for
No
coming.
worries at all.
Fantastic.
Really
fun.
enjoyed it. Thanks for that.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, we'll have to get you on again another time, and maybe have a referees round table. Have a couple of referees.
That'd be good. After we have Bill and that, and we have Hollywood Hartley, we'll get the previews in there.
Round of applause.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Over and out until next time.
Next time, love yous.
See yous. Bye.
Aeroplane jelly.